Hello everyone, welcome back to Sociology Study Hub. In our previous video, we covered the first three parts of chapter 1. Today we will continue our journey and cover part 4, part 5, part 6, part 7 and part 8 of the chapter. Part 4, Introducing Sociology. Part 5, Sociology and Common Sense Knowledge. Part 6, The Intellectual Ideas that Went to the Making of Sociology. Part 7, The Material Issues that Went into the Making of Sociology. And Part 8, Why Should We Study the Beginning of Sociology in Europe? Let us begin with Part 4. In this section, we will learn how sociology goes beyond our everyday belief and help us understand society through systematic observation and scientific study. Now let us understand how sociology is different from philosophy and religion in studying society with suitable example. For example, philosophy and religion asks what is good or bad, what is right or wrong, whereas sociology asks what is actually happening in society. Philosophy or religion may ask how people should live, but sociologists study society as it exists. Philosophy and religion may think about ideal society, whereas sociology based on fact and evidence. Peter Berger was an American sociologist. He compared sociologist to a spy. A spy collects accurate information secretly without personal bias and reports it as it is. Similarly, according to him, a sociologist should also observe society carefully, collect data, avoids personal bias, and reports the fact as it is. Sociologists have social responsibility. Therefore, the research must remain objective and unbiased. Now let us move to the next part of this chapter, Sociology and Common Sense Knowledge. What is common sense? The common sense means ideas that people believe without proof. For example, boys are naturally stronger, poor people do not work hard, some communities behave in a certain way. All these are examples of common sense. Now, sociology asks such questions. Is this really true? What causes this behavior? Is society influencing this? Therefore, sociology does not accept things blindly. This part also explains about naturalistic. Now, naturalistic means people think some behaviors are natural. For example, girls are naturally weak, boys are naturally brave. These are examples of naturalistic explanation. Now, to understand it more clearly, let us see the differences between common sense and sociology. Common sense, it based on personal experience. Sociology based on research and evidence. Common sense may be based and not accurate. Sociology tries to be objective and accurate. Common sense different for different people. Sociology same for everyone. Common sense quick conclusions. Sociology carefully investigation and analysis. Common sense answers are not always proven. Sociology findings can be checked and proven. Now let us move to the next part of this chapter, part 6, the intellectual ideas that went into the making of sociology. Now this part 6, it explained that sociology did not appear suddenly as a subject or as a discipline. It developed because thinkers wanted to understand how society works and changes. New scientific discoveries and new ideas influence sociologists. Influence of evolutionary thinking. What was the idea? Early sociologists were influenced by ideas of evolution. They believed societies develop from simple forms to more complex forms. They try to classify societies into different stages. Example of types of societies are hunters and gatherers, pastoral societies, agrarian societies, and industrial societies. Why is it important? Because it helps sociologists to study social development. They can compare easily the different societies and their levels of development. Charles Darwin developed the idea of evolution in nature. He explained that living organisms change and adapt over time. Now, many sociologists borrowed his idea and applied it to society. They believe that societies also change and develop over time, moving from simple forms to more complex forms. Just as plants and animals evolve, societies also evolve through social, economic, and cultural changes. However, sociologists study social evolution, not biological evolution. Sociologists therefore look at society as a part of system, or these systems are called as social institutions. And social institutions are examples family and school. Family teaches values and culture, whereas school provides education and skill. Now, why did sociologists use this idea? Because they wanted to understand how different institutions contribute to society. In this part 6, it also explains about the Enlightenment and European intellectual movement of the late 17th and 18th centuries. Now, what was the Enlightenment? An intellectual movement in Europe during the 17th and 18th centuries. It emphasized reason and scientific thinking. People started to use reason instead of superstition. People started to question traditional belief. People studied society scientifically, improve human life through knowledge. Now, why is it important for sociology? The Enlightenment period encouraged people to study social problems scientifically rather than relying only on tradition. Therefore, sociology was shaped by three major influences. Number one, evolutionary thinking. Two, Darwin's theory of evolution. Third, the Enlightenment. Sociology developed because thinkers wanted to understand society scientifically using ideas from evolution, Darwin, and the Enlightenment. Now let's move to the material issues that went to the making of sociology, part 7. Sociology developed not only because of these new ideas, but also because of major social and economic changes in society. Let us see how these changes contribute to the birth of sociology. Industrial Revolution. A new economic system called capitalism began in England. Machines and factories replaced handwork. The aim was profit, production, and growth. New attitudes and institutions. New ways of thinking and new institutions were developed. Entrepreneurs focused on profit. Markets became the main organizer of economic life. What it says in easy explanation. Machines and factories changed the way goods were made. It began in England. Capitalism, it's a new economic system where people invest money, work for profit, and run businesses. People start thinking in new ways. New rules and organization were created to support business and profit. Therefore, market decided what to produce, how to produce, and for whom. This part It explained that England was the center of industrial revolution. Cities grew fast. New problems also arise like bad living conditions and equal society also appeared. Commodities, goods, services and labor became things that can be bought and sold. Rational calculation. Decisions were taken by thinking of profit, cost, and benefit. England was the main place where this big change happened. Cities expanded and new social problems also came up. In short, the Industrial Revolution in England created a new economic system called capitalism. It brought new attitudes, institutions, and markets. Everything became based on profit and rational thinking, changing the world of work and production. Here, the textbook discusses the famous song Ye Hai Bombay Meri Jaan from the 1956 film CID. Although this song was released many decades ago, its message is still relevant today. The song described how Bombay was growing into large and modern city, but at the same time it points out social problems such as theft, greed and dishonesty. Through humor and simple language, the song reminds us that real development is not only about buildings and wealth, but also about maintaining human values and moral responsibility. For a clearer understanding of this message, you can read the points given below on the screen. Part 8. Students, have you wondered why we study the beginning and growth of sociology in Europe when we live in India? The answer is very simple. Sociology began in Europe during the 18th and 19th centuries when society was going through major changes. Factories were growing, industries were developing, and many people moved from villages to cities. This process is known as industrialization and urbanization. Before factories, people worked according to daylight and seasons. But with industrializations, people had to follow the clock. People started and ended at fixed times. As a result, time became very important in people's life. These rapid changes created new social conditions and problems. Sociologists wanted to understand how society was changing and how these changes affected people's life. That is why sociology emerged as a separate discipline. For Indian, this topic is important because our history is closely linked with British colonialism and capitalism. Many of the changes that took place in Europe later influenced Indian society as well. The textbook also refers to R.K. Laxman's travel experience in Mauritius. He observed that people from different backgrounds such as Africans, Chinese, Indians, Arabs, French and English lived together in one society. This shows how colonialism and global trade connected people from different parts of the world. So, by studying the growth of sociology in Europe, we can better understand the development of modern society and many of the social changes that have shaped India today. So, the main idea of this part is the beginning of sociology in Europe helps us understand the roots of modern society and its impact on India and the world. I hope this explanation helped you understand the topic more easily. That's all for today. We will continue with part 9 and 10 in the next video. Thank you for watching. Have a great day and keep learning.